This broadcast is the property of Codependents Anonymous. Reproduction without written permission from Codependents Anonymous is not permitted.
Recovering codependent.
Hi, Rosa.
Hi, Rosa.
Hi. So, Linda asked me to share my story, my experience, strength, and hope. And I wanted just to start by giving you guys a little bit of background of me. And then we can, this is very exciting. I was telling Linda that I joined CoDA 5 years ago in Spanish. Spanish is my primary language. And when I was seeing my therapist before CoDA, and he suggested that I go to some type of a support meeting, some kind of a support group, I said, I said, do you have any books? And he says, no, but there are these meetings, where people look like you, talk like you, smell like you, walk like you. And they're CoDA, they're codependents. And I said, I said, is that something like AA? And he said, yeah, something like that, only, they don't get drunk all the time. So I said, so I was, at first it was like, no way, there is absolutely no way that I'm going to go to that. And, but nevertheless, here I am 5 years later, being a grateful recovering codependent of CoDA Spanish meetings. And I was telling Linda that I felt a little uncomfortable about that I never share very much in English because Spanish CoDA has been all of the meetings that I've attended. But I just said, you know what? I told Linda I'm going to go ahead and just consult with my HP. And then he said, you need to share. Doesn't matter. Codependency doesn't speak English or Spanish. Codependency, it is what it is. And you never know who is going to be at the other end and who's going to, benefit from sharing your strength, your experience, and your hope. So here I go. I am Rosa. I was born and raised in Mexico until the age of 16, when my single mother of 6 moved us to the U.S. I was raised by, I don't remember ever having been raised or having very many male figures in my home. Although I had 5 siblings and we all had different dads, but I don't think my mom was ever married to anyone. I don't think that she ever, I don't think that she ever was married to any of these gentlemen that were part of my mom's life. So, as you guys can imagine, my growing years, in Mexico, being raised by a single mom with 5 siblings was, there was a lot of, poverty. There was, a lot of rejection, a lot of ridicule. There was a lot of physical and sexual abuse. It was very confused. There was a lot of confusion, a lot of disconnection in my life. There was hardly any type of spiritual or emotional or physical connection of any sort. Not only from my mom, but who was the most important person in my life at that time, but from my my extended family, like grandparents and aunts and uncles. There was not that level of any type of connection or nurturing or any stuff like that. So it was a lot of, I just, when I think about it, I just said, God, my beginning was very sad, as there was, like I said, there was really no affection. There was no nurturing, no encouragement of any sort. There was hardly any recognition that we even existed, that my siblings and I even existed, except when we were bad, So, I felt pretty unwanted from birth. I felt pretty unwanted. I felt like I was always getting in trouble, always getting in the way, always saying the wrong thing, always interfering, always being, just being in the way of adults. And, my mom very, very early on, I remember, in her own ignorance, and, she would often joke about the fact that, that she, tried to get rid of me, that she tried to abort, have an abortion twice when she was pregnant with me. And it didn't hit me. That did not hit me until I started my recovery, because, as a good codependent, I tried to just bury that, and pretend that it didn't exist. So, when I thought about the word unwanted from birth, I just said, wow, I did, my dad, left us when I was a year and a half, and I didn't get to see him. I didn't get to meet him until I was 13, almost 14. So it was a rough beginning. I'm not sure, though, when in my childhood I blocked the good and bad memories, but I did. I did block them. I'm not sure when and why at this point, but there's still not there's only a very few or no memories before the age of 8 or 9 at this point. So, I learned very quickly in my childhood, that it was not okay. It was not okay to feel. It was not okay to trust. It was not okay to say much. It was not okay to be a child, So I just blocked everything, good and bad. I blocked everything, and at 13, though, right at that age, that teenage year, that hormonal changing year, 13, almost 14, my mother decided that she was going to move to the U.S. However, because I was the stronger, she said, and I was a troublemaker and I could take care of myself. She decided that she was going to take me to meet my father for the first time, and that I was going to go live with him and his wife and his kids. But I don't remember she asking me for my opinion about that, So it was just like, one day I'm moving to the U.S. with your younger siblings, and you get to go meet your father. You get to go live with him. And, as compliant as I was, I don't remember that I said very much. It was like, whatever, just okay, whatever. I don't care. It was at that point I was numb. And I said, whatever, I don't care, So I did go live with a man that I didn't even know, with a family that I didn't know and I didn't care for. And I was going through my own hormonal changes at that point. And it was just like, I'm numb. I cannot feel. I don't want to think. I don't want to feel. I'll just do whatever, at that point. But it was then, it was when she left with my siblings to the U.S. and left me with a family that I did not know. It was the first time that I felt a sense of abandonment, from her, because she was it for me. But I soon recovered from that. I said, you know what? Crying doesn't help. Self-pity doesn't help. So I'm going to just learn that I'm going to survive this. So I soon learned that I had to survive without her, and I was just going to make it. So, I blocked how I felt. I blocked how I thought. I learned to, at that point, I needed to fit in. I needed to learn how to feel how others felt. I learned very quickly that if I wanted to be part of this family, I needed to please. I was older than my half brothers and sisters, so I needed to. I had a lot more responsibility, so I then had to comply. I kept quiet. I denied my feelings at that point. I said, if she doesn't care, she left me here, and I am, I'm not going to feel. I'm not going to think. I don't want to know anything. I'm just going to go with the flow. And that's what I did. I stayed with them for about 2 years and 2.5 years. Then at 16, my mother, came to pick me up and brought me to the States, relocated me. And here I am, at 16, another teenage age, where the hormones are just going crazy. My whole body is changing. My mind is changing. I'm a teenager. I'm starting to think things through. I'm starting to start questioning. And here I am, finding myself in a new country, a new language, a new culture. I left, my high school friends in Mexico, and, I left, the man who I thought was my father. I left a family, and then, but yet, I was carrying all of the emotional baggage. I didn't know. I know now that it was emotional. Back then, it was just anger. It was just anger. There's just a lot of inside build up anger. But so here I am, at 16. Once again, I had to relearn. I had to learn all over how to fit into a different world, a new country, new people. I had to once again, I had to be perfect again. I had to fit in. I had to do things right. I had to do everything that I needed to do to be accepted once all over again. I was told that I could not make any mistakes, otherwise I would be deported back. After all, I was a foreigner. I was undocumented. I could not get myself in trouble. I was told, I had to always be hiding from somebody at that point, and from everything and from everything and from everybody. I was living a life of hidden, once again, the sense of fear was there, another sense of fear, sense of rejection, and disapproval just became very evident all over again at 16. But I complied. I cared. I was, I kept my side of the street clean. I was a peacemaker, don't get yourself in trouble, always watching your back, and I'm 16, and I'm pretending to be happy. I pleased people. I worked hard to get approval. I discovered then that if I could just, do my best, then I would be accepted. And I will not make any waves, and therefore I would be okay. I will be protected. I will go unnoticed, and I will keep I will just keep my to myself. So at that point I said, well, if this is what's going to take to be noticed, then I'm going to go ahead and be compliant. And not only compliant, but I'm going to show them that I am competent, So I went to high school. I completed college. I worked very hard. I went on to get a university degree because, I knew that if I could just show that I could, not who I was, but that I could accomplish, then I would get approval, and I will be noticed, So again, I was in a state of denial. I entered this state of denial. I don't even know what it was called then, but I just felt that I was living my life for other people. And it was never did I know that until I entered CoDA. 40 years later, not until my marriage of 25 years ended 6.5 years ago, and did I discover that I had been in a state of denials for 40 years of my life. Wow. And so 5 years, 5 years into CoDA, 5 years into my recovery now, and I can honestly, I can just say that I am now 5 years later, since October of 2013. The only thing that I can say now is that I'm not the same person that walked into that Spanish-speaking CoDA meeting, 5 years ago. It's been hard. It's been very, very long 5 years. They've been very painful 5 years. They've been very scary. It's trying to live in a fantasy world and then discovered, that wow, it's been incredible. It's been an incredible journey. A lot of tears, a lot of pain, a lot of anguish, in the last 5 years, but yet they've been the most liberating years I've ever lived. Not only have I learned to forgive myself and others, I've learned to feel, how to feel. I've learned to trust, and I've learned that I am okay, even when I'm fearful, and even when I'm not perfect, even when I'm scared to hell, even when I am tired, I'm just fed up, I just know that I am okay. As long as I stay connected to my source, which I call my higher power, from a gratitude perspective, from saying, I'm going to be okay as long as I stay plugged in into my source. So prior to coming to CoDA, I just didn't know what the word codependency meant. I had no idea what character defects were. I was not aware of what a dysfunctional family looked like. These were all, here I am 40 years later, I'm 58, and here I don't even know what the word codependency means. I don't even know what a dysfunctional family looked like. It was not until I came to CoDA that I discovered that what I had growing up and what I had created with my own codependent behaviors and attitudes was indeed a very dysfunctional family of my own. And I did whatever I could. I did whatever I could not to see my own reality during those 40 years. I worked like crazy. I became a workaholic, 50 to 60 hours. I went to school. I got an education. It was important for me to get one more certificate, one more class, one more degree. I controlled. I denied. I became a shopaholic at times. I wanted to buy love from my kids. I just, there was so much, fear of abandonment. It was so much resentment that I wanted to show my kids that I was better than their father. And, it was just my way to keep me from feeling, keep me from seeing my own reality. I didn't even know that there was another reality to me. I was just in a state of amnesia, state of not knowing what was going on until I came to CoDA. So, now 5 years into CoDA, CoDA has allowed me the opportunity to really, truly discover who I was in my disease of codependency. But most importantly, CoDA has allowed me to truly see who I am in my recovery state. A beautiful child of God, as I understand my higher power. I have discovered through CoDA, I have discovered my own true identity outside of my upbringing, outside of my parents, outside of my relationships, outside of my job, my education, in order to see this new, beautiful journey of recovery of true healing. It is through CoDA that I have been able to hear my own story. I could have never told my story to anybody. I was just like, when I share at my meetings, I am the one who benefits the most because I can hear my own story. I can hear my own pain. I can hear my own joy. I can hear my own liberation. I can hear my own connection to my higher power. I can face my fears. I can be vulnerable. I can truly be myself in a safe, in a secure environment. So I always tell my story. I always share that when I'm sharing for me. I need to hear my very own story all over again so that I don't forget. I don't forget where I came from, where I'm at, where I want to go. And I don't forget that there was always someone out there who was willing to share his or her story so that I could hear it, so that I could also benefit from their pain, their fear, their own battles, I can benefit from their own freedom as well. Today, I know that no matter what happens in my recovery, I am only responsible for my own recovery. I also know that thanks to CoDA, my CoDA friends, my meetings, the CoDA community, CoDA literature, I don't have to be the same person I used to be. I can choose to be a different person today. I am so grateful and forever will be grateful to the program, to those who have come before me, to those who had that meeting open, 5 years ago in 2013, October 21st, 2013. I am grateful to that person who was coordinating that meeting, that night, that Sunday. I am so grateful to those people that came before me to share their experience, their strength, and their hope with me. It was all about me in that meeting. It was all about me. Today I continue to learn. I continue to unlearn old lessons and continue to learn new lessons. I'm open to new lessons. And I'm also open, to unlearn what didn't work for me. Some of my biggest and most valuable lessons have been whenever I choose to make myself vulnerable, whenever I choose to move forward in spite of, in spite of how I think and my own crazy thinking, and in spite of how I feel, I choose to just take that one more step in my own, for my own recovery. I don't have to pretend anymore. It's whenever I show my true self that I learn my biggest lessons. I'm willing to give myself. Today I'm willing to give of myself, in spite of my fear of criticism, in spite of my abandonment issues, in spite of my rejection, in spite of all the crazy thoughts that come to my mind. I'm willing to give of myself. I am so ready. I'm just willing to learn how to live a happy and a fulfilling life. I often have those moments where I just want to return to my comfort zones and my codependent behaviors. Often I have those often. But it is then that I have to just be patient with myself and talk to myself and remind myself that it took me 54 years to get to this point. It might just take me another 54 years to get to complete abstinence. And I'm not going to live another 54 years. So therefore, I just have to just be patient with me and remind myself that I need to continue. I need to continue to take my personal inventory, and admit it, and promptly admit it, as the 10th step says, promptly. And whenever there's issues that come my way, that want to get in my way of the recovery, I just have to remind myself that perhaps, my higher power is telling me that there are still things that I need to work on myself, and I do this in a loving manner. It's okay, Rosa. I just have to remind myself that it's okay. Today, as I said, when Linda asked me to share, I just said, Linda, I've never spoken in English. I've always shared in Spanish. But, I just want to my higher power says, codependency does not discriminate against Spanish speaking versus English speaking versus Chinese. Codependency, it's an illness that crosses across all races, all people. And if you have your voice, if you have your story, if you have your experience and your hope and your strength to share, then you go share it, girl. You go share. You go share where you were and where you are at today. And for that, I am so grateful that she asked me to share, because I need to be humble. And it's my codependency, my fear of rejection that sometimes holds me back and says, what if your English is not perfect? What if they've been in CoDA for 25 years and here you are just 5 years in CoDA? What if they know so much more about traditions and the steps and the literature? What if? And I said, you know what? This is about me. As I give, I receive. This is about me, giving of myself, sharing of myself, because I know that I am going to be the one who's going to be rewarded by sharing my experience, my strength, and my hope. And I have to do it in a spirit of honesty and be humble and be and of love. Self-love, I have to just remember every day of my state of insanity, and the fact that I have to constantly be connected to my higher power, which is often manifested, in my fellow CoDA members, in my new family, my new CoDA family, adopted family. And so this has been a great journey to be in. Today, I just have to say that my life is not what it used to be. It is, it is a great place to be. CoDA has allowed me to enjoy my family, without any type of expectations. There's a lot more peace in my home. I have 3 beautiful sons who I truly respect, and at one point in their lives, they were fearful of me. I don't have to be a perfect mom for them. I could never be a perfect mom. I can just be myself, and I have to allow them to be themselves as well. There's a lot of respect at home. There's a lot of care. There's a lot of love. And, I just have to remind myself that we may have been a dysfunctional family at one point, but today we choose to live, our lives in a state of sanity, in a state of health, when I try not to control, when I try to just respect them for who they are, and when I start to see them and everyone else, not from the neck up with my mind, but from the neck down with my heart, and I start seeing them as children of my higher power and as spiritual beings. But that can only happen when I choose to see them, from, like I said, when I choose to see them from the neck down, from the heart, as children of my higher power, which I choose to call God. And that is pretty much, where I am at today and what I wanted to share with you all. And I thank you for letting me be of service, and thank you for allowing me to share my strength, my hope, and my own experience with CoDA. Thank you, guys.
Rosa, thank you very much. While you were talking, we were joined by Roman from the Ukraine and Simeon from, I'm not sure where, but Eastern Europe. So, wow.
Wow. That is wonderful. Welcome.
Thank you, Rosa. Yeah. Yes, it's Roman. Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you very much for joining us.
So,
thank you for allowing me to share a little bit of myself.
Can we ask you some questions now, Rosa?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm happy.
Okay. I wonder what you would say was the tool that helped you most to get over the idea that people were going to be judging you for, the number of years or this or that. What tool helped you?
Well, when it would judge me because...
Well, for example, to be the speaker today, you mentioned.
Yeah, I was a little concerned, and this is, when I started the thinking part, I said, well, I've never shared my story in English. I've always shared my story in Spanish. There's that sense of fear that my English may not be perfect, that I don't know how to, English being my second language, that I'm just not going to be good enough. That's where that came from. The fear that you all have been in CoDA for 50 years or whatever, and here I am. What do I have to share with them? I don't have, I don't have very much to share with them. But it was that fear that I, coming as a teenager to the States and not knowing a word of English, And, there's still, that fear that, oh my God, she speaks with an accent, she must be a foreigner, and that sense of separation, that you're not from here, you're not good enough. There was that sense of fear that was there. So what helped me, this morning and yesterday, I meditated. I prayed about it. I had to see myself once all over as my higher power sees me, as a precious child of God, as a valuable member of CoDA. As my story, what motivated me is, Rosa, just like someone shared their story with you, you now have to give back because you have been given so much. So now it's your turn to give back. You never know. You never know who's going to be on the other side of the receiver. You never know. So that's what motivated me. And, just being in a state of humbleness, in a state of vulnerability, that even though my mind tells me all these crazy thoughts, my heart is telling me something different.
Thank you, Rosa. I don't want to dominate the questions. Maybe somebody else has another one before I ask a question.
This is Don. I don't know if I have a question, but I want to thank you because you told my story. I dealt with those same issues of abandonment, rejection, and denial, and recovery has allowed me to become an authentic person, as you had described, and it's very for me it's very comforting and reassuring to hear other people's success stories, and the fact that we have such similar backgrounds of neglect and abuse and abandonment. Thank you.
Yeah, Linda, I couldn't hear Don very clearly. Was that a question, or I'm sorry, but I can hear you very clear.
Hi. I don't know. Maybe, Don, you want to get closer to the microphone and repeat, or what?
I don't. Yeah, no, not really.
Okay, that's okay.
I got to be talking loud enough. I had no question. I just wanted to thank you because you told my story.
Oh, wow. Are you from Mexico too?
No, I'm from Pennsylvania, but I had the same parents. I dealt with rejection and abandonment and compliance and denial, and I learned that at a very young age that emotions were not safe, and that I just better and I learned to keep family secrets, and CoDA allowed me, although somewhat later than you, allowed me to become an authentic person. But my adult life was chaotic because of my acting out and my denial. So I just thank you.
Thank you, Don.
If anyone else has a question, I'd like you to go before me because I don't. Of course, I always have more things to say.
That's okay.
The remark made off to the side by one person is that in his community, there aren't very many meetings. And I know that you can talk about some kind of rapid growth in the number of meetings that has happened since you joined CoDA. Is that not right in your community here in Southern California, Rosa?
It sure has indeed. It seems that the Hispanic meetings have grown from, I think in the last 5 years or so since I've been in meetings, we've had a total of about 22 meetings. This is just in Southern California, predominantly in Los Angeles area. But we've had quite a few number of meetings, and one of the things that I think I do go to English meetings as well sometimes, and I see the the population of Hispanics is much younger. A lot of younger people with teenage children, as compared to the CoDA English meetings that I attend. Sometimes is predominantly, elderly, like baby boomers and elderly. And I'm not sure what that is, but I think the fact that that the Hispanic population here in Southern California is much younger, and that might be contributing to the fact that we have a lot of growing. The number of meetings is just growing. Yes.
Well, people have to be certain kind of brave to open a meeting. I mean, I don't know how many meetings there were when you first started, but maybe 2 or 3, and now 22. I mean, that means that somebody 18 times at least decided to open a meeting. That's pretty amazing.
I think the internet has also the internet has also contributed to the fact that people have access to information much more readily now. Whereas before it was, I came to CoDA, because I looked it up on the internet. That's how I found it. And then I said, when my therapist suggested that I find a meeting, when I looked up, the page, it was just incredible, the number of meetings that were available to me, that I could actually choose a meeting to go to. And when I hear of people not having to drive long distances to find a meeting, or having meetings once a week only, is just beyond me, because the meeting there was almost a meeting every day for when I looked up a CoDA meeting. Every day I could choose to go to a different meeting, maybe in a different location, but the information, the access was there for me. I think, it's not only the number of meetings available, but also the access to be able to find the information readily.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah, thanks to the internet. Yeah.
So thank you for sharing your journey to gratitude, and for sharing what CoDA has done for you. I know that for me, it's always helpful to hear, as Dawn said, I identify with aspects of your story that mean I was in a certain negative place. I came to CoDA, and now, through the trouble and the stress of working the steps, I'm in a better place, and I choose to keep coming back. That's what I hear from you. Is that
absolutely?
Yeah,
absolutely. It's not. I know that my life is better. Sometimes the medicine is sometimes they said the medicine is sometimes worse than the disease. But at the end of the day, that you need the medicine. At the end of the day, that you're going to be better off if you choose to take the medicine. Today, I choose to take my medicine, even if it has an awful taste to it. I choose to take my medicine because I know that that's what's going to lead me to my freedom, and I'm not only me, but those who live around me. I have 3 sons, who they have never been to a CoDA meeting. However, they know what CoDA is all about. They can see it, and they can see the change. I've changed. They have not changed. But they know what CoDA has done to their mother. They know that they know what CoDA can do to their mother, as when they see, this behavior on me, they're the first one to tell me, Mom, why don't you just go to one of your meetings? And I just have to humbly say, okay, you're right. I do need to call my friend, my sponsor. I need to call my friends, CoDA. I need to take the dog for a walk and do a little bit of meditation, or I need to get my rear end to a meeting. But they know what medicine works for their mother, Linda.
So, Rosa, is it true you're going to be in Atlanta as an alternate delegate for Southern California in 2019?
I'm hoping to be there. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm asking because one of the people here, Roman from Odessa, is saying that he would like to attend a world conference and that he missed seeing your face because you're phoning in. And I'm just saying, Roman, if you make it to Atlanta, you'll meet Rosa face to face.
Oh, yes.
That's great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just look me up, or if you're going to be there, or if you send me your contact information, or you can get my contact information from Linda. We'll try to stay in touch, and try to, meet up with each other over there. Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Yes. How are you? Anything else, Linda? I'm just so, I'm speechless when it comes to what CoDA has done for me and where it's taken me and where it continues to take me. All I can think of and all I can say is thank you.
Well,
thank you for.
I'm certainly grateful for all that you brought today. Your experience, is different and therefore interesting and helpful. From your own unique perspective, it helps each one of us.
Yes, I hope so. I hope so. But it's like, this is what you can see, and I know that I can see a lot from you too, Linda. I can just learn so much from you. You are a personal, inspiration for me when I see your recovery as well. And that's what keeps us going. It's like, I want to be like her when I grow up.
I think God's laughing because he knows that being like me is not necessarily wonderful. Hey.
Yes.
Okay, so Roman, Simeon, and Aaron, does any of you have a question? We don't want to block you out. A question, an observation?
No, okay. I'm just sitting back and listening. This is a nice way to spend Saturday after Black Friday, just to relax and hear a nice story. It was really great. I appreciate it and the candor.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. Roman, Simeon, if you have anything to say, now it's now or never. Because Rosa has a meeting to attend to, right? You're heading off to chair a meeting?
I'm heading over to Covina to chair the Covina meeting from 2 to 4. Yeah, and I'm driving from LA because I had to come to work this morning.
Yeah.
I live over in that area, so I drove to LA this morning, and I'm driving now back to Covina, to chair the meeting. Yes.
Thank you for taking the time to be with us.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely, Linda. Yeah, it's been great.
All right. So.
Well, this is a very quiet group.
Yeah, it is.
That's not fair that I get to be the only one who shares.
Rosa, I have a weird question for you. Totally off topic, but how far are you from the wildfires? We've all been following it on the East Coast. We feel terrible with the footage we've been seeing.
I am quite a distance away. Yeah, I want to say probably about 100 miles away.
Okay.
Yeah, but thank you for asking that. Yeah, it's been quite devastating.
Yeah, it's affected the air here. I have been able to see the fires in Malibu. The smoke has come down the coast, and I can see it from my window. But it's over now. We had our day of rain, and so the air has cleared up. It's not as bad as in Northern California, where the air is really, really unhealthy.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shall we end with the Serenity Prayer? You want to lead us out?
Sure. Okay, thank you guys for joining me with the Serenity Prayer. God,
grant
me the serenity to accept the things
I cannot
that I cannot change.
Courage
Courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Rosa,
Keep coming back. It works. Yay. Thank you so much, Linda.
Thank you, Rosa. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.